Have you ever been stuck in that spiral of anxiety and realized you just can't think your way out of it? No matter how much you tell yourself to calm down, it doesn't work. Well, turns out there's a really good reason for that. And today, we're going to dive into a biological trick you can use to kind of force your brain to stop panicking, using what's called a bottom-up approach. All right, let's just get right to it with a question I think we've all asked ourselves. Why is it that when our heart is pounding and our thoughts are just racing, that simple, logical command to just calm down is completely, utterly useless? It's so frustrating, right? You're trying to use logic on a feeling that just isn't logical at all. So, here's where things get really interesting. The problem is what's called a top-down approach. That's you, in your head, trying to force your thoughts to change. And it fails, because when our brain feels threatened, it's not thinking, it's just reacting on a really primal animal level. The real key is the bottom-up approach. It's about speaking your body's language first to send a signal of safety up to the brain. Okay, so to really get why this whole bottom-up thing works, we first need to get acquainted with the part of our brain that's actually running the show during a panic attack. Think of it as your brain's ancient, instinctive panic switch. This switch, it's buried deep inside a part of our brain called the limbic system. And you can just think of it as your body's hardwired survival alarm. It's designed to react instantly, and I mean instantly, to what it thinks is danger, way before the logical, thinking part of your brain can even process what's happening and go, hey, wait a second, we're actually okay. And when that alarm gets pulled, it triggers this massive chain reaction. You know the feeling. It's that classic fight, flight, or freeze response. Your heart starts hammering, your breathing gets all short and shallow, your muscles lock up, and that smart, rational part of your brain, it pretty much goes offline. The key thing to remember is that these are automatic physical responses, not choices you're making. But here is the good news. This is really the cool part. If we can't talk our brain out of panic, we can use our body to signal that the threat is gone. So let's look at two incredibly powerful, science-backed tools that are basically biological off switches. Our first tool has this kind of fancy official-sounding name, the physiological sigh. But don't let that fool you. It's something our bodies already do on their own, but when you do it on purpose, you can calm yourself down fast. And it is so simple. It's just 2 steps. First, you take 2 sharp inhales through your nose. Boom, boom. One right after the other, no exhale in between. Then you follow that up with one long, slow, controlled exhale through your mouth. So why on earth does this work so well? Well, that quick double inhale, it literally pops open all these tiny little air sacs in your lungs that might have collapsed. This lets you get rid of a whole bunch of carbon dioxide on that long exhale. And this is a perfect example of that bottoms-up effect. Lowering the CO2 in your blood sends a direct, powerful signal straight to your brain to chill out. Okay, let's move on to our second tool. This one is all about grounding you in the present moment by using your 5 senses. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. The whole point here is to pull your focus away from those anxious thoughts about what might happen or what did happen and plant it firmly right here, right now. You just deliberately, out loud or in your head, name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can physically touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and then finally, 1 emotion you're actually feeling in that moment. See what's happening here? By forcing your brain to pay attention to what your senses are telling you right now, you are anchoring yourself in the reality of your current situation. You're sending a direct message to that primitive part of your brain that basically says, hey, look around. Right here, right now, there is no tiger. We are safe. Now, these tools are amazing. They really are. But they're not magic pills. They're skills. And just like any other skill, you have to practice them for them to become second nature, for them to be there when you really need them. So that's the big question, right? How do you make sure these techniques are actually there for you in those super high-stress moments when your logical brain is already starting to check out for the day? The key is consistency. Simple as that. By practicing these techniques when you're already calm, you make them habitual. You are literally building a new neural pathway in your brain. You're training your nervous system to have a calm response ready to go at a moment's notice.
So if there's one thing to really take away, it's this simple mantra. Practice when calm, use when stressed. Doing a few physiological sighs during your workday or a quick 5-4-3-2-1 check-in while you're waiting for your coffee, that's how you build the mental muscle you'll need when the pressure's really on.
So, the big takeaway here is that you can actually learn to shift yourself out of that panicked danger response and into a state of calm resolve. And the secret isn't to argue with your thoughts, it's to start speaking the language of your body. So, I'll just leave you with this one final question. Which one of these simple, really powerful moves are you going to practice today? How are you going to start training your own panic switch?